Hi everyone. Let me turn this on really quick so it doesn't get into no moving mood. All right, so I am finally back after 3 months to do a 2024 book wrap up. This video has been recorded many times, but it wasn't that good and I had to redo it. And then the second time that I did it, my audio wasn't recording my microphone through my AirPods. So there's that. So let's begin. This has already gone on far enough. Hi guys, I know I've been gone for a few months, but I am here now with my 2024 wrap up. It is February. I understand it's a few months late, but who cares? This is my channel. I can do whatever I want. So in this wrap up, there's going to be a lot of books that are part of series. I'm not really going to go over them too much, but that's just a disclaimer. Speaking of, this first one, Thousand Autumns by Men Shi Xi. This is the third volume of a series that I really do enjoy. Overall, I gave this series like a 4 stars. It's not too long. It's only like 4.5 volumes, and there's a lot of pining, and there's a lot of like it's a slow burn, if you will. And I wish that like there was like a better confession scene at the end, but with Don May, I have like very low expectations now because it's more about the plot than it is about the romance. It's just kind of interesting. There's that. Atlas 6. Now, I did enjoy this first book, but I started the second book and I actually ended up not finishing the series at all. It is okay. The first book is okay, but the second book is just very much like kind of boring. I did a huge video about like why Dark Academia sucks now, and it's because like a lot of authors go into Academia without understanding that there has to be some academics involved, okay? There's some academics in this series, but it's mostly about like physics, and it's very not like I can't tell if it's true or not. So that's why I like Secret History so much, is because you can really tell the author has, digested these classic books and they kind of like regurgitated it and reformatted it to fit her narrative. And it still works. It still works as a critique of the book and also to see how her story and those books kind of like work together. And you don't really get that with the Atlas 6. So yeah, I ended up DNFing the sequel, but the first book was an okay entry. Then I read some light novels. I am a big fan of light novels. This is the Case Files of Jeweler Richard. He is a guy who's very knowledgeable about jewels, and he kind of uses that knowledge he to also like solve like slice of life mysteries. And he also talks about like human psychology and how we view jewels. And I think it's really interesting in that way. This is a really cozy book that I get into whenever it's released and I read it. And then there's another light novel called Onmyoji and Tengu Ai series, The Call of the Roaring Waves. They do have a fourth book out. I don't know if they're translating that. Hopefully they will. This is a really cool. It's like a buddy cop bromance series about two exorcists. They're Japanese exorcists. One follows one discipline and one follows another discipline, but they all like handle like malicious spirits and those kinds of things all over like their area or like around Japan too. And this is Old School by Tobias Wolff. I read this because it was like part of like a academia kind of like genre in Barnes and Noble, and I was like, oh, it doesn't look too like to be too long, so it's only 200 pages. I really did enjoy it. I think this author did a really good job in creating a protagonist that felt very human. He wasn't like very out there, but he also wasn't very like introverted as well, and he did something that I personally wouldn't do. It's like morally wrong to do, but He got his consequence, and I really like the way the story ended. And this is a manga. I also you'll see I read a light novel version of this. And this manga is about how a workaholic from Japan gets like sent to another world, and because he's a workaholic, that's all he knows what to do. So he actually becomes an accountant for the kingdom that of that world that he gets sent to. So it's really funny. It is a BL. But I'm probably not gonna finish this series or continue with the series because they already like kind of got together, and I don't really care too much about the after story about that. Again, Thousand Autumns, and then this is a manga based on a mobile game that I play called Twisted Wonderland. It's really good. It's like a bunch of hijinks about like, young kids. They're kind of like in high school level, and they live in dorms that are fashioned after classic Disney villains, like so Cruella de Vil or something like that. It's really cool. It's cute. It's like empty brain like enjoyment. Of course, The Winner's Curse. I love the series. I read it again, and it is so like this. The first book is just so chef's kiss. Okay, it's beautiful. I love this series. I cannot stop talking about this series. Then this one is called The Screaming Staircase. Is the first book of a juvenile fiction story called Lockwood and Co. And it was made into a Netflix series, but then it got canceled. But I saw that a lot of people were like upset that it was canceled, so I was curious about the book, and it's really good. I really like it. I feel like the protagonist of Lockwood and Co. It's a girl, and she is perfectly described for her age. I think she's like so believable as like a 15-year-old. And I really believe it. And then Prisoner Stone is the duology of the sequel series to Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I did not really enjoy this duology as much as I did for the series, mainly because I didn't care about the main characters and I didn't care about the relationship dynamic. And like it's so integral to stories like these because like these are basically like romance fantasy coded, and if you don't like the main characters, you don't like the protagonist, the relationship, then you're not gonna like the rest of the book. And then this one, Carmilla by Jay Sheridan Le Fanu. I believe they are Scottish or Irish. I can't remember, but this is like, as you can see, the book that inspired Dracula, and I really, really enjoyed it. And it's like, yeah, it's only 200 pages. So like this author did a really good job in like kind of encompassing everything about like vampires, but like little hints here and there, and it set up the canon for what vampires are in modern thought. Like he started it, and it's cool. It's amazing. This was given to me by my best friend. It's called Pride and Premeditation, and it's part of the Jane Austen murder mystery series. So basically, these are all like fan fiction of Jane Austen's books set in a setting where there's a crime or a mystery to be solved. And it's basically an AU, alternate universe. And I'm not the biggest fan of stuff like this because it has to be better than the original for me to like it. Because I'm always like you set this up like it's impossible to not compare this book to the original, and I just like everything was just like falling flat. It was kind of boring. A lot of the choices that she made to turn some characters into like a certain character or certain plot element in the book I did not really care for. And it's very like I was like after I finished it I was like, okay, I'm never gonna finish this series. But yeah, it was like good for it like, oh no, 3 star. I didn't hate it, didn't love it, but I'm definitely not gonna reread it. And then this one, Remnants of Filth. I like this series a lot. I like this series a lot more than her most famous series, which is the White Husky and his cat Shizun. And I think this is so much better in terms of plot, in terms of like the characters and the relationship dynamic. It is so good. And I don't know why people think of that of her other series more than this one. I just don't understand it. And this is another Dame by Priest. I This book is boring. This book is boring. I don't have much to say about it except it's boring. Next. This is probably the most famous or second to most famous series by this author, MXTX. It's another Don May, and it is also boring. I had a lot of like not great hits for 3 books or 2 books in a row. I like this one. But after I finished like Stars of Chaos, I was like, okay, I'm gonna finally finish the other book that I was like dragging my feet on. And it was so boring. And I was like, okay, at least I'm done. Um ugh. Moving on, The Seventh Veil of Salome by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I love this author. I think she had some books that like I wasn't really a huge fan of, but this one really had the mood of like the 1930s, 1940s Hollywood era, and I love her historical fictions. They're so good. I also finished another book of hers that's going to come out soon called The Bewitching. I am somehow on a list for Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Um, to be on her like advanced readers copy list. Like I'm like, thank goodness. But I really like this author. And I really enjoyed this book as well. So I next wanted to read a very classic book called The Epic of Gilgamesh. Fun fact, it is the oldest story known to man. I think it was written during the Mesopotamian era or the, like even pre-Mesopotamian era, and it is so like it's got the monster killing, it's got political distress, and it's got like gods and goddesses like finagling around human affairs. Like, it's really good. Gilgamesh is a crazy character. I don't condone everything he does, but he makes for a good story protagonist. These two, I already had like a long video about Legendborn and its sequel bookmark, Bloodmarked. I think it's in total going to be like a 4 book series. Um, I I don't know why it's a 4 book series, but she has so much plot that goes into this, and I think like 80% of it was like not good in my opinion. Um, I don't know. I have already said a whole video about this. I don't really want to get too into it, but I'm just really disappointed. I was just really disappointed with the series. Then I read Normal People by Sally Rooney. This is my first ever Sally Rooney book, and it's contemporary fiction. My best friend gave it to me, and she had like annotated notes on it, and I really did enjoy it. I liked finding it was like very like there's a lot of drama and a lot like gossip, and seeing how these two characters like see how they can kind of like get together without all of these like obstacles in the way. And it's got themes of classicism, it's got themes of like capitalism, it's got themes of like all of the things you ever like kind of see as a factor in preventing two people to be together. It is here. Like I really enjoyed it. So yeah, 4 stars. And this is the last one, 1,000 Autumns. Again, really good. And then you'll see later on, I read a bunch of Abhorsen books by Garth Nix, and it's about like a necromancy, and it's like a young adult kind of series, and it's pretty good. I will say though, the romance in these books are hilarious. Like, you can tell when someone's gonna get together with someone or when they're not. Then I read Coraline by Neil Gaiman. I love this movie. So when I went to New York like last year, I decided to go get this book at a bookstore that's in Soho, and I really enjoyed the kind of like perspective of a young girl, and you can really believe it's a young girl. I think not all authors can do that well. In writing like from a younger age perspective, younger age mentality, but he really does. And of course, I know everything that is to do with Neil Gaiman, especially with that crazy article that came out. I'm not saying he's a good guy or not. I just think he's good at writing. That's it. Then I read through audiobook. I read The Mysterious Affair of Styles, a Hercule Poirot mystery by Agatha Christie, the great Agatha Christie. I wasn't in love with this book. I feel like there was just so much to this mystery that just made me like, okay, can you just get to the point already? It was long. I know it's only 6 hours, but it was long to me. This is the light novel version of the manga I mentioned earlier, and then this is the rest of the Abhorsen series. So I read 3, 4, and 5. Um, it was good. It ended really well. And I already did a whole video about It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I don't want to get into it, but I did not like it. So going on. More Whisperings, more Lockwood and Co. And then for my video, for the Kindle Unlimited video, I decided to just stick to one series. It was just easier. And I chose this one, Criminal Intentions by Cole McCade. Um, I think this book is okay. Maybe if I ever were to get into Kindle Unlimited, I would like pick this series up again. Kindle Unlimited series, I don't really love those books because they're written to be very long and they're written to always keep you reading the next book. So there's not really much plot development nor character development for like the first six books or so. Like significant character development. So I don't know. It's like it's okay. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. But you know, it was good enough for me to keep reading. Until the third one. Though yeah, the third one I did not really care about. Anyway, then I finished Golden Hand. Then you know Naomi Novik, one of my favorite authors, she published a short story collection, and it was really good. I there were some that were like one of my favorites, and I can't wait for her next series. And it's set in like one of the last short stories in this collection anthology. Yeah, so Husky and White Cat, I did not like this. I do not like this series. I don't care for the characters. I don't care for the plot, and I don't care for the relationship drama. Like, this is not, this is like it was terrible. So yeah, I'm not gonna finish this series. My friend wants me to like, hey, read this entire book series, but it's too long and too much. And I don't want to drag my feet through all of that for nothing. So, this one's episode 13 by Craig DeLuey. It is a horror book, and I am not really scared by horror books. Horror books need to do so much for me to get scared, and like to the point where like it has to turn into a movie. I do not get scared by books. The only book that like got me like ooh a little spooked was The Haunting on Hill House by Shirley Jackson, and there's not that many books that can capture what she did with that one. So episode 13, it was okay. It was kind of boring, honestly. So yeah, 3 stars. Then Apothecary Diaries, I love Apothecary Diaries, by Natsu Hyuga, and I will keep reading it for as long as it's out because I feel like I really love the protagonist Mao, and I love her budding relationship with Jinchi, and I love all of the side characters of this book. And I think this mysteries are deep. Like there are small mysteries that add up to a big mystery at the end, and I think she does a really good job every single time a new arc kind of happens. She does a good job with it. Like, of course, there are some arcs I don't really care for, but the last one was really good. More Lockwood and Co. And then me, I love Catwoman, so I just like decided to read a little bit of Catwoman. Next, Academy of Our Liars. I did a small video about this one. She is like one of my favorite new upcoming kind of authors. She has published a few already, but this one in particular, I really do like more Apothecary Diaries, and then more in the Remnants of Filth. Then I read some Hardy Boys. I like listening to the audiobooks when I'm doing work because there's like you don't have to think, and then you can just like keep you can keep like you can tune in and out, and then nothing much will happen until like the climax happens. More Apothecary Diaries, more Hardy Boys. Then I listened to The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I very much enjoyed this one. It was like a movie, it was like a TV series in a book, and I think the mystery was done really well. So my friend told me that the second and third book are not that good, so I'm just gonna stop here while it's a high. Because I think she tied up the mystery in like a neat little bow. I don't really know why there's still more to go. But yeah. Then I read Little Sister by Raymond Chandler for the Philip Marlowe sister, Philip Marlowe series. It's okay. It's not great. It's not. It's okay, and it's not great. Okay, maybe a 2 star for this one. The guy's like a sexist, so I don't really like him. Fox 8, short story by George Saunders. I kind of cried at this one. It was cute. It was really sad, but it was cute. Then selected poems and Langston Hughes. Good stuff. Now that I'm an adult, I can enjoy his work a little bit better than I was as like a high schooler. Sandstrand Court by Nora Sakavic. So she had published three books in this all for the game series in like the 2010s or something, and they were good. I finished it in a like mind-induced haze for 2 or 3 days. And this one is, yeah, kind of a sequel series, and she is publishing the next one as I'm filming this, probably next week or in 2 weeks. So I'm really excited to read her next book in the series. Then this is like kind of like a manga, short story, side story kind of thing for 86, which is another light novel that I read. Um, Instead of like a war-torn battlefield, which is the original series, they are now just in high school and being like, high school students as they deserve. Then I finished Wuthering Heights. I am Catherine. I am Catherine. I understand that. And I see why I'm annoying sometimes because I am Catherine. But so this book got a 2.5, even though I did enjoy it because it was very frustrating. And I think Emily Bronte, maybe I'm just not reading it close enough, but there were moments where I was like, wait, what? What just happened? Like, I did not see this coming at all. Like, characters will be pregnant, and I'd be like, they're pregnant? They never said like nothing in the book indicated that they would be pregnant. They just immediately just had a kid, and I was just like, okay, guess I'll just believe take that at face value or whatever. So 2.5 stars for that. And then I finally finished Poppy War after 2 or 3, 4 years of not finishing this book. I was like literally in the middle, and I give it a 4.25 stars. I really enjoyed this first one. I am in the middle of reading the second one. I just like I don't understand why this main character is like so obsessed with this other character. But anyway, we'll continue. So hopefully I finish the trilogy later on. And then last but not least, this is from the light novel series 86 that I mentioned earlier. I'm not gonna finish this series. I have a few books already bought in this series that I'm gonna finish, but I don't think I'll continue until like something happens in like the last volume that's like really cool or something, and then maybe I'll like try to finish the series. But I think this author kind of like repeats a lot of the same stuff over and over again, and it's just not hitting anymore. So I don't know, it's okay, but yeah, again, it's like my enjoyment for the series going lower and lower as time goes on. So yeah, that is all 56 books that I read last year. Next year I'm going to try to read 57. I try to do like one book more than my previous one, so we'll see if it ever gets to like 100 in like 40 years. Okay, bye, thank you.